Sometimes we just have to start something in order to get going with it, to then understand this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be. Allow me to allow the journey to unfold, and I will learn along the way. Hello and welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited you are here. I'm a perfectionist. Are you? I say that with a smirk, and I also say that with a little bit of sarcasm. And the reason why I'm being a little sarcastic with this is perfectionism can be the very thing that drains our vital life force. And so we want to be careful being perfectionists. And I know that I can identify and admit that I'm a perfectionist. I will notice when I'm doing it, and I will have a talk with myself. Because being a perfectionist will drain your vital life force. It can cause you a lot more harm than good. It can stunt your spiritual evolution and prevent you from growing and being at peace. I know perfectionism sounds nice because it's a state of being perfect, but everything in life is imperfect. And guess what? We're all making this up as we go. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you stay in perfectionism, you can get burnt out. You can be in comparison mode. And comparison mode is the thief of joy. You can go into avoidance mode. If you're sitting there trying to get something to be this perfect thing, you all of a sudden shut down and you avoid doing the very thing that you're meant to be doing, which then prevents you from going to the next thing that you're meant to do because you've done that other thing. So if you're in perfection mode, you want to give yourself permission to be honest that that's where you're at. And then you'll want to give yourself permission to move out of it. Other ways that perfectionism hurts us is it will cause you to be hypercritical of yourself, which then causes you to feel not worthy. Or you might be super hypercritical of other people because you're expecting them to meet a certain standard that they can never meet, which then causes you more stress. Or it might cause that person stress, or it might cause you both stress. Now, I'm not saying don't strive for high standards. Sometimes good enough is better than nothing, or good enough is better than project delays, missing deadlines, burnout. Sometimes we just have to start something in order to get going with it, to then understand this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be. Allow me to allow the journey to unfold, and I will learn along the way. Because oftentimes people, when they're striving for perfection, they want to be the master at it. You can't be the master at it unless you practice. I often tell my Sacred Awakening students this when they're just going into the Akashic Records for the first time. I know you see someone that has practiced a lot, and you might want to compare yourself to them, but don't, because everyone had to start at some point in time at ground zero, and they had to work at it. It's like someone that's learning how to draw a face, and the first time they draw, it's not going to look the best. But the more you practice at it, the more that the anatomy shows up as more natural. But you have to practice. Perfectionism is not only the thief of joy, but it's also causes people to not see what their true potential is, and they get tunnel vision. So if someone's in perfectionism, they get this tunnel vision of this is how it's meant to be, this is how it's meant to go. And if you give yourself permission to just allow things to naturally unfold by following the breadcrumbs that the universe lays out to you, it will turn out 10 times more magical. And I have found that whenever I try to force something to be a certain way, it never pans out the way it's supposed to. But when I allow myself to just follow the energy, man, things work out really great. And I'm not as stressed out. And when I'm stressed, all sorts of just not fun things start to happen. Perfectionism is not necessary if you want to be fulfilled. Perfectionism often plays into the idea of you have to meet a certain societal standard that is made up by a group of people that really don't matter to you. Like, their opinion doesn't matter. And it might feel like their opinion matters, but at the end of the day, whose opinion matters is yours. And if it prevents you from doing the things that you're wanting to do, it's not worth it. You're better off making a mess and jumbling it all up and even screwing it up than to not do anything at all, or to do it at such a high level of stress that you get sick, you get burnt out, you can't communicate, you shut down. These are all different types of things that perfectionism can cause. And for me, what I have noticed is when I say, you know what, let's just let go of it being perfect and let's just get off start. Because if I can just get off start, magic happens. If I can get off start, the stress in my body can start to decompress. But sometimes our minds go off in all of these different directions that cause us to still be in perfection mode. And it's important to identify where that perfection is coming from so that you can go, no, that's not necessary. So sometimes for me, perfectionism comes from my childhood and how I had to be perfect in order to feel like I was loved or to feel like I was seen. Because if I did something good and if I did it at the highest caliber possible, then I was lovable. I was worthy enough. Whatever the case is for you, you'll want to identify, because once you identify it, you'll notice it in all the different areas of your life where it is bleeding fulfillment from you. It is depleting fulfillment from you. Fulfillment is what we're striving for, not perfection. Fulfillment is where you feel happy, you feel joy, you feel excited, you feel at peace, you feel at rest. You feel enlightened, you feel excited about the future. If you're sitting there dreading what you're about to do, that's not fun. And guess what? Your energy doesn't lie. And so dreading or being so stressed out when you're doing it, people are going to pick up on that. Even if you put your heart and soul into it. Perfectionism can also cause depression. It can also cause deep, deep criticism of self. And I've already mentioned that piece, but I feel like these two things go hand in hand. with one another. Because if you're sitting there criticizing yourself all the time, or noticing that you're criticizing the things that you're doing in a particular area of your life, ask yourself, how are you trying to make this perfect? Because if you can figure that piece out, you can then start to untangle yourself from the mess that you are in trying to be perfect in that particular space, situation, or area of your life. The other thing about perfectionism, it can cause feelings of inadequacy or fear of failure. You are perfect the way you are. You are on a journey to evolve. The place that you are at is perfect. It's perfectly imperfect. And we have said a lot of perfects in this episode. But the thing is we have to befriend where that space is and where you are at and go, it's great. It's okay. It has its challenges, but you know what? I can work through this. You know what? I'm going to befriend that this is going to be imperfect and it's going to be messy, and it is great. It might not feel great. It might be really challenging and hard at first to be okay with not allowing it to be perfect. I know for me, that is the very act of surrender. And that's hard for people, where it's like, oh, I have to surrender to the fact that it's not going to be perfect. I have to surrender to the fact that good enough is good enough. I have to surrender to the fact that it's better to just allow myself to try than to not try, because I'm just going to beat myself up and have failure to launch and have fear of failure and have feelings of inadequacy unless I actually just take action on that thing. When you can admit that you are in perfection mode, or perfectionism is causing you to not be fulfilled, or causing you to be burnt out, are causing you to have feelings of inadequacy, causing you to have feelings of comparison, causing you to be judgmental, causing you to be judgmental of other people, causing you to have depression. The list goes on and on. Being perfect is not your job. Your job is to show up and to embody being human and all of the emotions that go along with it, and finding fulfillment in all of the areas of your life. And that means you don't have to be perfect in all those areas. You just have to show up and try. And the more you show up and try, the messier you get, the more you're going to figure out where true balance is, and true peace is, and true adequacy is, and true feelings of worthiness are. You are amazing, my friend, and you do not have to reach a level of perfection that your brain keeps telling you is necessary, or your inner child is telling you is necessary, because it's from a learned behavior in childhood or a learned behavior in your adulthood. Whatever the case is, you are amazing, you are worthy, and you deserve to live heaven on earth in this lifetime and be fulfilled while doing it. You are absolutely amazing, my friend. Let go of the need to be perfect and allow yourself to be in the flow of life where you are blessed and you recognize those blessings, and you give yourself permission to just be messy, because it's okay to be messy, because that's where you grow and that's where you learn. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Stop being perfect. Share this with a friend, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Bye.